If you are planning to build an AI service business in 2025, I need to warn you about the massive mistake that is going to kill 90% of agencies before they even get started. Everyone is telling you to build simple AI chatbots, simple basic automation workflows, or single purpose AI tools. They're promising you can charge $5,000 to $10,000 for a basic n8n workflow with some AI sprinkled on top of it. That's not just wrong, it is dangerous advice that will leave you competing on price with hundreds of other providers doing the exact same thing as you. I've now been running an AI agency for over a year and a half now, working with dozens of companies from small businesses to mediums to enterprise level, implementing AI solutions and generating over 6 figures in AI service revenue. Through this, I've discovered something critical. The businesses making real money, they're not selling AI tools. They're selling business transformations. Another way to put it is business outcomes, to sound just a bit less corny. Now, let me show you the difference and, more importantly, how you can actually position yourself in the small group that actually is going to profit from this entire AI wave that we have all found ourselves within. So here is what's happening in the market right now. Somebody creates a YouTube video showing how to build an AI voice agent for real estate. And within 48 hours, that video has 50,000 views. And suddenly there are 500 new AI experts offering the exact same service. Now, some of my videos in the past definitely have contributed to this a bit. And for that, I apologize, because I really do try my best to be as authentic and transparent as possible with all of you guys, and really just sharing, what actually works within the space, building in public in a sense. But in any case, the barrier to entry is so low that anyone with a weekend and some YouTube tutorials can replicate what you're doing. So you're not building business, you're joining a race to the bottom. Now, I have watched this happen in real time. So friends in my network, they would build some solid lead qualification chatbots or agents. They would charge $3K for implementations. Now, within just 3 months, the market is extremely flooded with competitors offering the same exact solution for $500. So their revenue dropped significantly, and their offer was, of course, incredibly harder to sell now because it wasn't inimitable. And there's an even bigger problem coming. Microsoft, OpenAI, Google, they're all working on plug and play AI agents for these common business functions. They do not care about us agency owners or consultants trying to just make a living helping businesses implement AI. When they release agents for marketing, sales, and customer service at $20 per month, your $2,000 monthly retainer or one-time setup fee, it becomes worthless completely overnight. So just think about it logically. Why would a business be paying you 10 grand every year for a customer service chatbot when Microsoft is going to offer the same functionality for just $500 per year? They won't. And that's exactly what is coming. The companies that survive this shift are going to be the ones that are building better AI tools. They're the ones solving bigger problems that the tech giants will never actually bother with, at least for a while. So let me just introduce you to the system approach that is going to actually work for you and allow you to make a profit from this AI wave. So instead of asking what AI tool can I build, you need to start asking what complete transformation does this business need to reach their next growth milestone? And how can I actually solve for these businesses' pain points and bottlenecks or growth constraints that they are experiencing? So I recently actually had a client who was struggling to scale past $100,000 a month. A lot of people were pitching him with these different sales generating workflows and content systems. But when I actually had the opportunity to audit his business and went through our discovery audit, you can check out my most recent video, the one preceding this video, where I go over what that discovery audit actually is. I found several different bottlenecks preventing his growth within his company. So his lead quality, it simply put, was just inconsistent. His sales team was overwhelmed with unqualified prospects. His customer onboarding was manual and time intensive. His customer success was really just reactive instead of proactive. His pricing wasn't optimized for different customer segments. His inventory management was causing stockouts. I mean, there's a bunch of different things that was going on. So rather than selling him just one solution, I designed what I call an entire AI system. So, I mean, you could probably guess just based off of its name, It's really just a connected series of different AI-powered processes that addressed every obstacle simultaneously. Now, the system included intelligent lead qualification that scored prospects based on a plethora of different data points. We automated nurture sequences that adapted based on engagement patterns, dynamic pricing optimization that actually was able to adjust based on demand and inventory levels. We had a customer success automation that identified at-risk accounts before they actually churn, one of my personal favorites. We had predictive analytics for inventory management that reduced stockouts by a little over 90%. And of course, real-time financial dashboards that gave him visibility into his cash flow and profitability by its product line. So each component here, as you can imagine, it worked together to create these compound results. So there was better lead quality, and what this meant was higher close rates. Higher close rates meant more predictable revenue. More predictable revenue meant better inventory planning. Better inventory planning meant higher margins. And these margins just meant more budget for growth initiatives. So instead of charging $2,000 for a chatbot, I charged $13,000 for the entire infrastructure. More importantly, within like 100 days, I think it was, his MRR, monthly recurring revenue, it jumped to nearly $160,000 per month. So to actually add on top of that, this is just another example of a different AI system that we've built out for a client. So you can see right here, we have messages sent, messages received, follow-up sent, phone calls coming in, going out, calls booked. We can filter this to calls as opposed to just messages. We can listen to recent transcripts. We could play this and hear how the conversation actually went with an AI agent. So to give you a little bit of context, this is an AI SDR, an AI call center essentially, where it's able to send out messages, call people instantly, do a plethora of different things. We can see the different messages. We can go into the conversations. I don't want to show off the context within here. Yeah, so each client gets their own login and everything. So if we want to deploy this with more people, it's not going to be just copy and paste. But the point is we're building an entire infrastructure. Here's just a glimpse of the back end. So this is just another piece of the entire puzzle. So let's break this down a little bit further. So we can see right here, we used VO as the front end. So we use this for the chatbot interface. So we also built out a chatbot. We found that n8n, it lacks customization. So if we wanted to create an agent that was, conversational over website, because you can deploy chatbots over website with n8n. It just lacks customization. We also use Supabase for the front end. Supabase was a visual representation of the CRM. Supabase, as you can see right here, this is where we're storing every user interaction, and this allows the chatbot to reference previous conversations for context and personalization. So for example, when we have a booked call, we're going to store that in Supabase. If we have a follow-up message sent, store that in Supabase. If we have a new lead texted, store that in Supabase. And then Supabase is then relaying all of that information into this front end right here. And then obviously, as you can see, this is Supabase visualized of what I was just showing you in this dashboard right here. On top of that, as I gave you a glimpse of, we have n8n, so some of the back end pieces. And I mean, it's not just this. We have like 10 different systems or back-end workflows that are actually working 24/7. So this is used for the entire back-end setup for creating different responses, determining which actions to take, like getting the availability. So if we're on a phone call and we're talking to somebody and they do want to book an appointment with the sales team, we can get the availability from their calendar. We can schedule calls, we can add them to DNC lists, we can pull from knowledge bases, so like FAQ lists, anything like that. We also use Go High Level a little bit, and this is used for interacting with social media, so like polling responses and sending responses on Facebook, Instagram, email, text, WhatsApp, and more. So we really created an entire infrastructure. So, I mean, I could go over it pretty quickly, but I have a bunch of different videos covering what this actually did. Essentially, a lead is going to opt in, whether they're coming from an ads page, like you're running ads, sending traffic to your website, asking them to give email address, phone numbers, whatever. We're then going to call them and go through a plethora of different routes. So like if they don't answer, just keep sending follow-up messages and so on. So I'll touch more on that in a little bit, but I wanted to cover what most AI service providers are getting wrong nowadays. So what I've been seeing is they think that clients care about the technology or just that it's AI. They don't. The clients, they don't want to know about your webhook configurations, your vector databases, or how many nodes are in your n8n templates. They want to just see results and they want to feel confident in those results. So this is where presentation actually becomes everything. So instead of, showing clients your backend automation workflows, you need to create custom dashboards that make them feel like they're getting enterprise level service. So when a client is going to log into their interface, this is going to show them exactly how many leads that they were generated from the system this month, which campaigns are performing best, or what their customer lifetime value trends look like, which team members are hitting their targets, and what their projected revenue might look like for the next quarter, all in real time. So they're not thinking about switching to a competitor charging half your price. What they're thinking about is how professional and valuable your service actually feels and the outcomes. So they're thinking about how this level of insight is helping them make better business decisions. They're also thinking about how they can't imagine running their business without this level of visibility. So I learned this lesson really the hard way. So I used to walk my clients, or prospects at the time, through my n8n workflows, showing them all the complex logic and integrations that I would build, right? Now, their eyes, they would glaze over, and half of them would just ask if they could just hire someone cheaper to maintain it, or try to maintain it in-house. Now what I show them is something that's actually clean, and professional dashboards that don't look like complete shit, to put it transparently, and something that's actually worth paying $10,000 a year for. It's the same back-end functionality, but just completely different client perceptions. And then my close rate, it just naturally jumped just by changing how I was presenting the solution to them. Now, moving on, most AI agencies are also targeting the wrong businesses entirely. So they're going after startups and small businesses that see $5,000 as a massive investment that they need to think about for weeks and even months. Now, the sweet spot is working with companies doing $100,000 to $5 million per month in revenue. So these businesses are the ones that have real problems that require sophisticated solutions, the ones that you provide. And they have the budget to pay for results without really needing board approval. Now, here is my exact process that I use to identify businesses that are already successful but facing clear scaling challenges. So I just create what I call an AI discovery audit. I touched on this earlier. What this does is it just maps out every inefficiency in a client's current operations. So I don't just look at their marketing or sales. I analyze literally the entire operation. So we look at things like, how are leads coming in? What is the qualification process for you? How long does it take to close deals? What is the onboarding experience like? How do they handle customer success? What's their churn rate? Again, if you want to learn more about that entire process, the discovery audit, then check out my video preceding this one to learn more about that. So what I then do is I present them with a pretty comprehensive solution that doesn't just fix one problem. It eliminates the bottlenecks that are preventing them from reaching their next revenue milestone. So when you can show a $500,000 per month business exactly how to reach $2 million per month, and you can demonstrate that your system will pay for itself in the first 60 days or so, charging $25K for the implementation suddenly seems like, the bargain of the century. Obviously, it's still going to be difficult to close that deal, and it's not as easy as I make it, but you get the point. Now, this next part, it's going to definitely seem a bit counterintuitive, but businesses are more willing to be paying large one-time fees than committing to monthly retainers, especially if it's something that's for a transformational project. So when you charge $3,000 per month, these clients, they see it as a recurring expense that they need to justify every 30 days. So they're constantly evaluating whether they're getting their money's worth. They're comparing you to other monthly expenses. They're looking for reasons to cut costs. When you charge $15,000 upfront for a complete transformation, they're going to see it more as an investment in their future. So it's a capital expenditure that will just generate returns for years to come. So it's not competing with their monthly operating expenses. It's competing with other growth investments. On top of this, when someone pays you $15K upfront, they're committed to making sure that the project succeeds. So they'll provide you the access you need, participate in implementation calls, respond to your requests quickly, and actually use the system that you build. Now compare that to a client paying $1,000 per month who ghosts you after the first week because they forgot about the onboarding call. They don't provide the access that you need to the systems you require, and then they blame you when the system doesn't work because they never implemented it properly. I mean, I've had clients pay me $15K up front, then refer 3 more clients clients within 90 days because they were so invested in making the project successful. And I've also had clients paying $1,000 per month churn after 60 days because they treated it like another monthly expense that they could just cut. Now, with all this being said, you do not need to become a coding expert, but you do need to think beyond basic automation tools if you want to be charging premium prices. So I will say that the most successful AI service providers, they're using a hybrid approach. They have these robust backend systems for reliability combined with custom front-end interfaces for obviously user experience. So you could use different tools like VO, Cursor, or even Lovable. What these tools do is allow you to create professional looking applications without any deep programming knowledge. And your automation workflows can still run on, all these platforms that you're probably using currently, like n8n, Make.com, Gumloop, but your clients just are going to be interacting with something that feels like custom enterprise software. So this isn't just about looking professional. It's about creating sticky solutions that clients can't easily replace. So when your system becomes part of their daily workflow, when their teams actually depend on your dashboards to make all of their decisions, when their entire operation is optimized around the insights that you provide, switching to a competitor becomes exponentially more difficult. So I have clients who have been paying me for nearly a year now, not because they couldn't find cheaper alternatives, not because they like me, but well, they definitely like me, but because replacing my entire system would require retraining the entire team and rebuilding their operational processes. So now let's just talk a little bit about why you actually need to be getting a move on right now. So this is just the harsh reality about market timing. The money goes to the first movers, not the best products. So just right now, as things stand, the demand for comprehensive AI solutions is still massive, while the supply is pretty limited. Businesses, they're just throwing money at different AI transformations because they know they need it, but they don't know how to implement it effectively. So in 6 months from now, that equation flips. Supply is going to just catch up to the demand, prices are going to get commoditized, and profit margins are going to disappear. Now, the businesses that are making $50,000 per month today, they will be fighting for the $5,000 projects tomorrow. Early adopters, they capture disproportionate value. Then the market gets saturated, margins compress, and literally everyone's competing on price again. The businesses that establish themselves as AI transformation partners in the next 90 days or so, they will capture the majority of the market value. Everyone else will be fighting for the scraps. So this is your action plan for the next 30 days. Stop thinking about AI tools and start thinking about business outcomes. Just pick a specific industry where you can clearly identify transformation opportunities. I recommend focusing on professional services, e-commerce, or manufacturing industries, just something with clear metrics and established processes that can be optimized. Then you'll want to map out the complete journey from, let's say, their current states to their ideal state. So what are the 5 to 7 major bottlenecks preventing growth for them? How do these bottlenecks interact with each other? What would a comprehensive solution look like? So you'll want to build out the infrastructure approach, create professional client experiences, and then price based on the value delivered, not the time invested. So your goal should be to charge at least, $5,000 to $10,000 for complete transformations, not $1,500 for single tools. And the AI revolution isn't just changing how businesses operate. It is quite literally creating the biggest wealth transfer opportunity, in my opinion, in service-based industries that we have seen in decades. The question is whether you will position yourself to capture the real value or get left behind with everyone else building chatbots. So choose wisely. Your next 12 months do depend on it. If you're interested in learning more stuff like this, then join my community. Links down below. And if you're a business owner looking to implement AI solutions for your own company, then check out the link down below where you can apply to work with us. But in any case, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.